slowly retrieved it, thinking there might be something watching it. And as I did that, the rod suddenly hooked over and we've got another bass. Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Empty Angler. Back out today and we are live baiting. And a few of you have asked me to go into a little bit more depth on the live baiting side of life today. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. If you know this, then you know it. If you don't, hopefully it's of use. First port of call with live baiting is obviously collecting the live baits, and it can be the most challenging part of your day. Here down where we are, the bass, we're on pouts at the minute. The simplest way to catch those is with a set of really tiny baited Hawkeye feathers with a weight on the bottom over any reef system normally holds pout. If you get desperate and you can't find them on the reefs, then wrecks, of course, loads of pout on wrecks. You just have to fight through the massive great ones, but you do get the small ones as well if you get in a pinch. Mackerel, scad, my favourite bass live bait, live launce, whiting, rockling, anything like that works. Everyone will have their favourites. Generally it's just lip hooked once, but I'll show you that through the day, and then I'll show you the rig itself that I use in a minute. But like I said, hardest part is normally catching the baits, so let's see if we can do that first. Alright, bait then, let's see if we can get some. Like I said, this is just a string of really small Hawkeye feathers baited with squid, which we caught earlier on in the year. And you want as many live baits as you can get. It's pretty much every bait you get is a bass here, so it's quite key. And if your live bait dies, don't throw your dead bait, your now dead bait away. Keep them to one side, out of the main pool where they're swimming. Because if you run out of live baits, the small dead baits, because we're after the little tiny pouts, the small dead baits work quite well as well. So don't just throw your dead baits in the sea. But like I said, there's some straight away. There we go. Right, that's a good start. This will be pout as well. Hard on the bottom. They're going to go straight into my tank that I've got at the back of the boat here. If you don't have a tank, a bucket with an aerator will do. Hopefully these are nice and small. Feels like it. There we go. That is an ideal bass bait. Just a little pout and we'll lip hook him and that'll be it done. Where I'm fishing is a little reef. And I've still got a little bit of tide. The best time to collect your baits is at slack water. You just stay in one position, everything's moving, and it's the best time to get your baits. Mackerel, great bait as well, but not here at the minute. I use squid as the bait for the Hawkeyes. I know it sounds silly, but if you use worms, it gets ravaged in seconds. Squid or cuttle, ideally, tends to last a bit longer. Obviously, the more you've got collecting your bait, the quicker you're going to get them. Some more. A bit like bream, if it goes a bit quiet, just give it a little bit of a lift. And if you are fishing a reef system, you don't really want to be dragging your weights along the bottom too much. You have to be on the bottom, but you almost want to hop them along, otherwise they snag up and you lose it. But this is another pout. This is good. This is not a bad little start, this. There's another one on the bottom hook. Now pout are quite delicate, so you want to handle them as little as possible, otherwise they just die. They are quite delicate. And likewise, when you steam into your mark, unless you've got a super duper live bait tank, try not to go full pout hammer down, because you'll get slamming about and they're just dying there. But that's 2 baits now. Hopefully that's 2 bass. Obviously 2 fish limit, I'll put the rest back, but you get where I'm going with it. But that was a couple of drifts there with the same bit of squid on. That's why I like squid for catching these baits. It's just tough. It's only got to be a tiny, tiny, tiny little square. It's just got to be hooked once, and that's it. Easy. So we've reset it now, and we just go again until you've got enough baits that you need for your session. It's always good to have a few more than less, because what will happen is the day you have less, it'll be a storming day and the bass will be smashing it, and then you'll run out of baits. That's why you keep the dead baits. but eventually even they get shaken off the hook and stuff. So yeah, you just get more than you need. You can always let them go at the end of the day, but if it's on, you want the baits to be on, you know. Well, I would suggest this is too big as a live bait. That is a monster for off this little spot. That's a big old pouted. Oh, that's a big old pout for this little mark. Right, we've got enough baits now. We've got about 20 live baits, which is more than enough for what I need. However, the pump on this live bait tank doesn't work, and irrelevant to that, it's not a particularly great live tank on these 640s anyway. It's a bit small really. If I was doing it more seriously, commercially, or I was doing it just because that's what I want to do day in, day out, I'd get another tank put on here. But we've got plenty of baits anyway, and like I said, dead baits will work. So the hook of choice for me is always a circle when I'm live baiting. This is a 4.0 Cox and Royal Mutsu circle. 6.0 works fine as well. I just like a 4.0 when I'm fishing this particular mark or I'm on the floats. If I fish a wreck, then I'll use a bigger hook just because I think I've got a better chance of hooking something quite nice there. And then all it is 6-7 foot of fluorocarbon. And it goes up to your standard, this is on the end of the rod here, so a standard clip swivel, just a normal clip swivel. The only difference is on the ring, you tie that to your main line and you let the little clip hang down. And on the other end, you just tie your trace line like you normally would. Now when it comes to clipping the weight on, you just clip it onto that clip that's dropping down. Don't need any booms, don't need anything else other than that. You can use a three-way swivel, there's different live bait rigs, but for the way I fish here, that's it. It's really simple, and that works a treat, as I've shown you before in other videos. And that's how the commercial boys here primarily fish as well, like that, because it is simple, it's easy. And that's it, that's all we do. And then you lip hook in the baits, which I'll show you in a minute. Lip hook in the baits once, down to the bottom, crank it up 10-12 turns, and then keep an eye on your sounder, because obviously the bottom, especially where I'm going in a minute, the bottom raises up quite a lot. So every couple of minutes, just drop it down to the bottom again, crank it back up so you've got that distance. And those bass will be working the bottom and the mid-water column as well. So it's no good if you're dragging your weights on the bottom. One, you're going to snag up, and two, your live bait, if you've got one, will be bouncing off every single rock down there and catching on all the bits of weed, and it'll be a dead bait by the time it comes back up. So just bear that in mind. Right, I'm going to take a slow jog down to where I'm going now. Tide's just turned now, we're on the ebb, which is what I wanted for here, for this mark. Hopefully we show you a few bass. Right, got our mark. That is the swivel I was speaking about there, just clipped on. We have our live bait pout, good to go, down to the bottom. Let's see, we're a little bit early really. You will get a lot of commercials here later, but I've got out quite early. But the tide's ebbing, which is what I want for this mark, so I'm happy to give it a go. Plenty of baits. We will try and stick the camera down later as well. If we get any footage, I'll show you later on at some point. But it's dropping down to the bottom. We're in 125 feet here. Might need a heavier lead. That's it on the bottom. Crank it up in the holder. That's pretty much all we have to do now. Seems lazy putting it in the holder, but you can hold it. But you can get quite jerky, especially if you're new. If you get a bite, you tend to do that with it and you lose it. In the holder, you can't do that. You have to give it time to get it out. And by that point, it's already hooked. And I'm going to tackle up another rod as well. So that's it, we're fishing. Right, one other tip for live baiting. I'll give you another one in a minute as well. Is always have a bucket of water to hand. So when you're going around on your next drift, you can put your live bait still hooked up in the bucket, and that way then he's not going to be flapping around on the deck or dying basically. So always have a fresh bucket. And the other one I'm going to give you, the other tip is, the other tip I'm going to give you, get yourself a little pond net. I'll tag a link in from Amazon, they're a couple of quid, that's it. Get get yourself a little pond net, because when you're fishing with little pouts or prawns, rather than spending your half hour chasing around them, just get a little net, scoop them out, and then put the ones you don't want back in. Makes your life much easier, this little pond net. Our first drift round is looking like a no-go. We have a couple of goes on this particular mark, and it probably hasn't kicked off yet. Tide's only just getting going. We've got 1.4 knots, so we've got the tide, but it has only just turned. It's quite a big tide. But they tend to move around this particular mark, so you can move up or down. And there's a commercial to my right, starboard side. There's another pleasure boat just behind me. And I expect there to be about 10-15 boats here at some point in the next hour. Everyone's getting their baits at the minute. But yeah, so nothing at the minute, but we'll bring it in, we'll go again, and we'll show what we can do. Hopefully it kicks off and we get a few today. I'm confident. It's a lovely day, flat, calm, beautiful. Right, I'll go around again. Guys, we're fish on. We might actually hit a rock. That might be a rock. I saw the rod bouncing. I think, no, it's a fish, no, it's a fish. That is fish on. I went in the wheelhouse to check where we are on the mark. Yeah, it's a fish. Happy days. I went in the wheelhouse to check where we were, and just saw, I caught the back end of the rod being hooped over. Doesn't feel big. Obviously it's on a pout live bait, so you'd assume it's a bass. We're going to find out. I'll tell you what though, it's well hooked, but first one of the day. Off again. Come on. I'm going to try and swing this one in. Here we go. I love it when a plan comes together. Just come out on a mark I've got for this particular bit, and it's a rocky bank. And yeah, I just went into the wheelhouse to check where we were, and I come out and the rod wasn't bouncing, it was just over. And that is a lovely, lovely bass. Happy days. First one of the day, second drift, Mutsu circle, straight in there, bang. And that's how we do that. Beautiful, thin, perfect fish. And that's a nice table size, that one. I'm allowed two, and my partner eats fish, so that's actually a nice size for one person. Beautiful. That was a nice small one, only a couple of £1. But that's down now. I've also got the Westin underwater explore cam down as well, just to see what's down there, see if we can pick something up. Just as we come onto the rocky bit of the bank, that was it, bang. I went in there just to see where we were, and I come out and it was bent over. It wasn't nodding, it was just over. And I thought perhaps it had dug in. It didn't give up much of a fight. First one of the day, take it. Exactly the same line. The commercial's now joined us out of Eastbourne. Fingers crossed. As you come up the bank, just check in, let it down again, reset those 10 turns, just so you don't want it dragging on that bottom. Yes, that was quite low, that one. That's been set. Let's reset this one. Right, interesting one. The commercials are just starting their drift line again, and I'll just come to the end of my drift. I brought one rod in, and I just started bringing it, just so I went to touch the second one, it tapped a little bit. So I left it 30 seconds. Started bringing it in with no fish on. I slowly retrieved it, thinking there might be something watching it. And as I did that, the rod suddenly hooped over and we've got another bass. Here's the leader. It's a better one. Just in the scissors again. There we go. It took that. It took that as I was retrieving the bait up. Just went to grab the bass, and the leader's gone right in that corner of your finger, that crease in your finger, like a paper cut, and just sliced me open. Yeah, it's another beautiful bass. Well, 3 drifts, 2 fish now. Happy. Come in. This circle, that Mutsu circle, really having to apply pressure to get that out. That is well in there. But yeah, lovely bass. And that's my 2 now. I'm done. 2 table-sized fish. Done. I'll keep fishing obviously for sport, but done. There we go, 3 drifts and 2 bass, can't argue with that. 2 lovely sized dinner table fish. Every fish I get now is going back. I've just put on the sexiest looking little pout that's alive on here, and I think this one is going to get smashed. This is a really nice looking live bait, this one. Again, that one come right at the end of the drift. I was just literally brought the other rod in, and as I went to get that one, I saw a couple of little rattles. And bass tend to hit fish twice. They hit it once with their gill plate to stun it, and then they come back round. And I waited 30 seconds and I was like, no, it's not there. But I just retrieved in slowly, a bit like a lure I suppose, and it hit it on the way up. It suddenly just went over. Done. Right, that's the camera rod there. It got spun up last time round. The pout on this one's dead, and it's spun up and wasn't very good, so I'm hoping I can fix that. In the meantime, let's adjust this one again, because I can see I'm coming up a bank. It's really important, much like I've spoken about turbiting really, when you're working these baits up the bank, you need to know where your bait is on the bottom. If you're dragging the bottom, you'll just end up killing your live bait, and you're not popping it off 10 foot. If you pop it off 10, 20 foot, anything under it can see above and see the fish, anything above it can see it. If you're just down there, you're relying on something seeing it coming down from the top. So that's why we crank it up a little bit. We've got 2 baits down now though. But yeah, it's right at the end of this drift. This particular mark, it's a dip, and it starts climbing up. But where it climbs up, it's rock. It's a rock patch that goes up. And obviously there's some sort of feed on there that they like, and the bass just sit around that rocky bit. And other times they're moving up and down this particular mark. So what you'll find is when commercials or recreational start finding some fish, they just start swarming around each other, and that's when you see the big gaggles of people. But at the minute we've only got 3 boats, me and 2 commercials. There was another one, but he's obviously run out of patience and gone already. So what's happened now, the tide has picked up, and I can already see the weights are kiting up a bit more, which means they're going to lift the baits off the bottom a bit more, which is fine. But when I'm 10 turns off, I want to know I'm 10 turns off. I don't want to wind up being 20 turns. You know, the bass move in the water columns, I know, but I'm just going to stick a heavier lead on next go round. They are just kiting out just a bit too much for me. Ow! Fucking hell, where's this suddenly come from? Well, I'm now on 12 ounces of lead, and we are drifting at 2.6 knots. Proper rolling through now. Proper rolling through. It's got a bit quiet. I had those 2 fish in those 3 drifts, and I haven't had one since. I think this is maybe drift now number 8 or 9. And one of the commercials has actually left this mark and gone further in, which tells me there's not many fish here. So I might consider a move in a minute, go in a bit closer as well. But I might just go home. Got a couple, that's all I need. I have just dropped in a bit now. Out there it was just not happening all of a sudden. But 2.8 knots we were doing, and I don't think the speed's the problem so much, but for whatever reason it just killed it off. I only saw one fish landed by the commercial that was there. The other one has completely gone and gone home. And this mark is normally full up with commercials, and it was just day before yesterday, but there's none here today. So I think perhaps someone knows something I don't. We've had 2 bass off the bat straight away. So let's have a quick go in here, see if we can snatch 1 or 2 more. If not, I'll go home happy anyway. I've shown the live baiting, we've caught a couple of fish, boat's had a run out, I've had a run out. So I'm quite happy either way. Water's a lot more May-rotty in here. We suffer with that algae bloom here. We call it May rot. But yeah, it's really starting to come in force now, and that will kill fishing. So I'm not holding out much hope for the next couple of weeks. But we'll figure something out. Perhaps maybe go and work the hounds or something. But I'll persist here for another 10 minutes, and I'll see how we get on. Well, that is indeed going to be my last drift. It's just not happening here. The water clarity is shot. It's shot to bits inside here now. Out there, 2 fish, 3 drifts, then nothing. Round and round and round, nothing. I don't need to stand flog it today. I'm not having a whole day session. It was always going to be a quick couple of hours, show a little bit of live baiting, catch a bit of fish, clear the head, get the boat ran out, and I've achieved that. So we've done what we needed to do. Hopefully you learned something. If you have, please like and subscribe, all the usual stuff, all right? It really helps me out. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the lot. Go and have a look. I've got different content on each platforms, so do go and have a look. And if you've got any questions, anyone who's followed long enough knows I will answer them, and I do answer every single one. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all again in a bit.